Um, Hello everyone, and I'm just recording this video because I have to attend to my school and I have some exams that I have to study to. So I have no time in the morning just to be with you at these lessons, but I've decided just to make a video and send it to Christina, and hopefully she's going to show it to you. So I've decided just to work with that truffle and their application in Sweden. It might be just to think about how the forestry industry is going to react to it, or if it's a possible impact on this very old industry. So the first thing is how does that truffle work? There's many types of truffles, so it's not just one sort of truffle. There are too many, and with too many types that can survive in very different situations, but they tend to be fungi which attach itself to the tree, and they have an underground body. And they work that they form a mycorrhiza with the trees, and this means that they have a symbiote relationship with them. So the trees are very large, but their roots can't reach so far because they cost a lot of energy. So they rely on other fungi, like many kinds of truffles, to just reach out to collect more water and more minerals to them. In exchange for that, they are going to get sugars from the tree. So the tree relies on them and they rely on the tree to eat. And because they are underground, so they have to rely on others to speed, so they can do it by themselves. They can just go and run. They have just to rely on bugs or mouses, very small animals, or maybe dogs in some cases. So they, when they go up, they have a kind of aroma that attracts so many animals to them because they just want to tell them that there's food down there and that they need to get that food to be able to eat it and spread it. And it helps the tree, especially in the early stages, because when they form the mycorrhiza, so they can make the tree grow faster, especially when they are very small and they don't have very deep roots. So they can grow a lot faster than the tree roots, and they can capture a lot of nutrients that the tree need to grow. And of course, this picture is not for truffle. It's for another kind of fungi, but it just shows very clearly because I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this large part are the tree and those small parts are the fungi. Mm. And why do we need them, or why do we have to employ them in the forestry industry? Well, because we are facing many, because the forestry industry is very important in Sweden. It makes a large part of the exports, like paper and jewelry. We are talking about biological fuels that are coming from the trees and many chemicals that we can extract from them. So the forestry industry is getting more and more important. But we are also facing many challenges, like from the global warming, because we are going to have like the pine weevil. It should be the pine weevil, but I've got one by mistake. And they are very dangerous because they can eat up to 90% of the new plantations. because they get attracted to the new trees because they are easier to eat and they haven't developed a kind of protection or they aren't big enough to survive the attacks. They are very, very dangerous when the temperature is going to get over 18 because that's when they like to move. So they may move in very large groups to attack new plantations and live there. They might stay in the same place for 4 years, where the plantation owners can't grow any trees there, and they have just to wait for 4 years. And it's very expensive because they have also to take care of the grasses that are growing and the other posts or the other plants they don't like. So it's very expensive to keep a plantation clear for 4 years. And when I was in high school, I had the honor to meet the professor Hellqvist. He works with them with SLO. And he said that when they plant the plantations trees in the perfect age to get attacked because they aren't very small, so they don't have that kind of aroma or smell that attracts the weevils, but at the same time they're not very large, so they have developed a system or they can survive that depth. So uh, the way that we plant our trees right now are just the perfect way to get attacked. And you see that they can survive for at least 4 years. So we have to plant your trees with very expensive chemical or physical protection, which costs a lot of money, and the chemical protection might have um, ecological impact because they don't just kill the pine weevils, they might also kill the bees that we need to survive, or maybe other animals that are going in contact with insecticides. So we have to make him grow faster before they get attacked, or maybe they, because there's already the bark in the tea which is alive, so they need to have a bigger bark as fast as they can. And there's also other problems like Anton Boardman was talking about in his thesis. He's an Uppsala student, so yeah. He was very concerned about the monocultures of the forestry industry and their impact on life because there's many animals and insects that can survive in the forestry plantations. And they are actually very dangerous for the biodiversity, especially for the small insects which can't just eat the trees. So they have to have mushrooms or other kind of fungi, maybe other kind of plant to survive on. And he talked about if we have more species there, so maybe it's going to be more protective, and we're going to have more trees to grow. So where does the truffle come in? Well, as I stated, the truffles have a symbiotic relationship with the trees, and Professor Ulf Bunken have noticed that the larger the tree are, the more sophisticated the truffle system is, especially the black truffle. with the Spanish homes. And when they are having a larger network of fungi and truffles, then the tea are going to go faster. But it's like the egg and the chicken because we actually don't know if it's the most sophisticated system which is making the teas go faster, or if the larger tea which can produce more sugars to make the system go faster. Hmm. And Professor Pinocchi said that it might not work with every kind of cheese, like we can just do the black truffle in everyone, because the truffle have also specific functions, so they don't have the RNA to make enzymes, and the cells organs just to inject themselves in every kind of food. So we have also to think about which kind of truffles we need to blend the teas with, and how we can use them. She had also talked about the economic factor, because we're going to not just to have one product, we're also going to have a truffle as a product, which we can sell and gain money from it. So other than making the trees go faster, we are going to have another source of income, and we are going to have more biodiversity because the truffles are going to attract mice and a lot of insects and small animals there, and they might maybe just take other stuff with them when they are traveling, or maybe they are going to stay there and have their own ecological system, which is going to help the trees go faster because they're going to do stuff there like poo, and it's going to give just more nutrients to the soil around them. So can that truffle be cultivated in Sweden? Um, our own Christina Vedén had said that it's possible to grow some truffles in Sweden. She had tried to do that in Gotland. She had used some samples to say they can, but the sample size wasn't very big for me just to be able to make a mathematical equation or a mathematical proof that it can be actually done on a very large scale. Just because of the sample size doesn't mean that it couldn't, just mean that I'm not very good at statistics to work with very small sample sizes. And she had noticed that many didn't go as they thought, and some of them had truffle bones, which mean that they don't have many spores at one side of it. So it might very be possible to grow truffles in Gotland and in Åland, and this means if the truffle are going there naturally, so the birds are going to take it to other parts of Sweden, but we haven't noticed like burgundy truffles going in northern Sweden, and this might be because of the soil nature there is different. It might be also because of the soil kind and the pH there and the acidity of the uh, soil, and it might be just because of the temperature, because it's warmer in Gotland than it's in Kiruna, as an example. So if we are going to have, if we want to grow some burgundy trees in northern Sweden or in the Skåne area, then we have to consider the colder weather because the farther we are from the coastline, the cold it gets in the winter. So we might be able to use some anti-freezing genes from fishes, and it's been done in Antarctica when they started just growing potatoes in -30 degrees. But this is going to be very difficult, like with soil that can't fit the perfect condition for the truffle growing, because truffles don't have a very large, or if we are going to talk about one specific truffle kind, like the Bergen truffle, so it doesn't have that large range of soil types to survive in. So maybe we have to change how it works slowly, like we forced so many trees to regrow in other places, like we've done with potatoes. And maybe we can just use some GMO, or we can just make some GMO truffles that can fit with the tree species that we want. But it's going to be very difficult with genetic modification technology that we have at the moment. We have also existing fungi species that might be in the soil, so we can just go them after we've put them in the ground. We have to start regrowing them before, because we have existing fungi species that are going to fight with the truffles just to take its place. So the perfect solution is, or no, the solution that I can think of is just to plant some trees with truffles on them. So we are going to have the roots with the truffle already in the place, just to move to the other place and start growing. But the problem here might be the introducing of a new species to the ecological system. This is a very large problem with invasion species that are just going to take over the system because they don't have any natural predators there or any way just to seize their growth, like the pine beetles. So we have to consider that, because just introducing truffles with the teas might just destroy the already existing fungi system which is in the soil. This might be by using sterile truffles, like Monsanto used to do with its seeds, that we have seeds that can't reproduce. They can grow, but they can't reproduce. And we might just this might get very expensive to grow them, because because you just can't regrow the truffles from or truffles, or to make your own truffle plantation. This means that very few people are going to have a monopoly of oligarchy over the forestry industry, even if it's a very tough business right now. And this might be the start of some unforeseen events, like maybe it's going to boost the populations of so many insects that we didn't consider to grow that fast. It might also affect the very fragile fungi system, so it might just die out. Then we have to regrow it, or we are going to have just to find another way to save the system. Så ska bara hämta lite. Yes, sorry for the Truffles, just my roommate came here for a bit. So I had to just shut the recording down. So my final thoughts. I Truffle and cheese living on symbiote and help shelter to grow, and maybe we can take advantage of that just to make that trees grow faster. And at the same time, we can have an additional economic uh, benefit of growing truffles. Plus, it might have a positive impact on the microecological system in the plantation forestries. There's different kinds of truffle that could be used maybe to protect the trees by making them grow faster. And this is very, very important for Sweden right now, especially with the rising temperatures, especially in the summer when the weevils are very active. But the problem is that an introduction of new organisms could impact the entire ecological system. It might increase or decrease the biological diversity. But this can be tested in a lab. It will just show up sometime in the future if I'm introducing the organisms. And of course, we have many new technological advances that we didn't have before. We also the technology is just making so much progress at the moment, especially in agriculture and genetics. Gene- Genetics. So maybe in the future we might be able to change the genetic structure of some truffles to make them both very eatable but can endure the harsh environment and the many harsh winters in Sweden or in other parts where they can't grow naturally. Thanks for listening.